Well, howdy fellers, it's been a while. You may be wondering what the heck that is. Well, I'll show you kind of how I did my front end alignment, sitting here in my shop with, all my tools and stuff, or lack thereof. Anyhow, what I did, I changed out my tie rod ends. Super simple. Easier said than done though. You just take that castle nut off this side, and come around here. Take that castle nut off there, and I take that nut completely off because your tie rod, that bolt is going to be replaced on your new tie rod, so you can beat the living crap out of it and it's no big deal. So you want to break them loose. It's easier just take your tires off. That way you got all this room to do. That, and I had to do this line as well on both sides. But you knock them loose, beat them out of there. You may need a torch, heat it up, but I didn't. I just whacked it real good a few times, and that was that. Take your, you're gonna loosen that little booger right there on both sides, and then you're gonna unscrew that tie rod on both ends. So you just have a bar. Then you put your new ones in, get them kind of evenish on both sides. And then you'll slap it back in there, just the way you found it. And yeah, I did this jacked up, by the way, with both the tires off. And once you get all that snugged up, you just go ahead and torque those castle nuts back down, and throw your tires back on. Get them snugged up the way you want them. And then you can take a tape measure. Let me get my tape measure. I'll just show you. I know it's more fun to watch when somebody's doing it, but I done did it, so I'll just show you how I done did it. So you'll get your, back together, you got your tie rod in, back on. Doing this one-handed. And just for a ballpark, you're gonna measure on the inside of that tire to the inside of your treads, and get that kind of close front and back. You're still in the air, tires are on. And then what you're gonna do, you get you a straight edge. It don't matter if it's angle iron. These are my pipe stakes that go inside my trailer. But if you look, they're pretty doggone straight still. I just took a piece of wire, fishing hook, fishing line works too, whatever you want to do. And you get that sitting to where it's not touching this, and it's not touching the bulge of your tire. You want it just touching there and there. We'll make sure it just touches it, just like that. And you put one on the other side as well. I'm not going to do it because I just took it off because I'm done with my project. So then, take your tape, stretch it back out. Easier said than done in the wind. So if you can be inside, do that. Then you just hook it right there. You get you two tapes. You hook it on this side, and then you hook it right there on the back side. Kind of sit in the middle of your wheel. And you want to kind of bounce it back and forth, make sure it's touching that tire nice and even. Pulling on both tapes. And then you'll measure to the outside of this bar like you got over there. And you just make them even, get them as close as you can. I got mine within a 1/16 of an inch. And to adjust that, if you don't know, nobody told me this, that's why I'm telling you. You're going to still have that booger loose on both sides so you can rotate your tie rod. And you're going to put a pipe wrench on that, and you just rotate it. And that brings this back side in or out, depending on which way you go with it. And keep in mind, when you pull in the back side, you're pulling out on the front side. So it doesn't take a whole lot of adjustment. That's why I said just get kind of close with one tape, because it's a little easier that way. And then, yeah, you just kind of sit there and play with it with your tapes and move this a quarter turn, maybe a half turn at a time, until you're within a 1/16 of an inch of each other. And it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be darn close. And I set mine where the front is going in 1/16 of an inch from where this backside is. So when you're going down the road, it'll kind of spread out just a little bit. And drive it a little bit, and then come back, put your bars back on it, and measure it again. What you want to do is come into your shop at a rolling stop. You don't hit your brakes real hard. You just roll it and set your brakes once it's stopped. That way everything's just like it is going down the road. Because you can align your truck in the air, but it's not going to be the same as it's sitting on the ground rolling forward. You know, it's going to push stuff out or in. Kingpins might have a little slop in them, you know, whatever. So yeah, you go drive it a little bit, and then you come to a rolling stop, put your bars back on it, measure it, see where it's at, and then adjust from there. And get them as close to straight as you can. And you can be pretty darn close with a couple tape measures. You don't need lasers or spinning wheels on the ground or lifts or anything like that. This is a super easy job, not hard at all to do. It took me, well, I had to go to the parts store twice. It took me, I don't know, 3 hours maybe. Take them tie rods off, put them back on, straighten it up, get it aligned. Not a hard job at all. A lot of these old trucks. Now don't ask me if this works on your Freightliner Cascadia, your Freightliner Classic, your W900, your Peterbilt 359, with or without the Detroit Series 60 on the Freightliner side. I don't know if it works. Should all be the same. But on this setup, that's the way it is. My tie rod is behind the front axle. I think that's a good design because you run a deer over, you hit your front axle, you don't hit your tie rod and bend it, and then your alignment's all out of whack. But this should work on most trucks. There's another video I watched on YouTube to learn how to do this. Some old guy, it's had to be shoot. Video was posted 6-7 years ago, something like that. But that guy videoed that in the late 90s, I think. But it still applies today, especially if you got an old truck. But yeah, save you $1,000 on the front end alignment, and just measure it out yourself. And pay attention to your tires after you do it, because if it's off, it's going to wear your tires funny. I'm going to put on new tires, and my tie rod ends were just beyond shot. There's a 1/2 inch of slop in there. And you can see on this tire took the beating because the driver's side is what does most of the steering, and then your passenger side just follows along with your tie rod. But that end right there, it had a 1/2 inch of slop. None of this is sloppy at all, so I just left it. Didn't want to get into it too much. And but yeah, it's dang near bald here, and there's a lot of tread here, a lot of tread in the middle. I need to run a little bit more air pressure. I think I got it at 100 pounds. Probably bump it up to 110 would probably be all right. But there's one spot, yeah, right there. It's dang near bald. That's illegal. So we can't have that. That and going at slow speeds, it's got kind of a bounce to it. So I've known stuff has been going on with this truck. I've just been driving it. But that's how you do front end alignment. Now you can get, if you want to go in deep with it, check your shims and stuff. You're going to want to get a protractor that's got a marker that just follows gravity, you know. And you want to make this parallel the bottom of your axle there, parallel with the frame of your truck. And if it's off, then you can slide some shims down in there, one side or the other. And you can check it the other way as well, but you can't really change that because you'd have to bend the axle to change that. But you can get your axle to where it's not like this. It's straight up and down. That's where you want it. I don't know how much difference that actually makes, but if you want to go through all that and shim it up and get it darn close, you can do that all with tape measure, protractor, straight edge. That's really all you need, just some big tools. but not fancy tools. Big tools as in 1.5 inch socket and an air gun. Mainly just to get your tires off. The rest of it you can do with all hand tools. I'll show you my toolbox. That's what I carry with me in the truck all the time. I got a whole lot of stuff, you know. Set of screwdrivers, various pliers, oil filter wrench, vice grips. Always have vice grips. Little pair that we can plug off a airline if you break one. Ratchet. I got my 3/8 drive, metric and standard, and then I got 2 of every wrench up to 1.25 inch. And you're going to want that 1.25 inch if you got a Mack, because you're going to use it. And then got your metrics down there, which you hardly ever use on this old truck. But I got that, and then couldn't afford an air compressor set up, so got this bad boy. That's a 1-inch drive Milwaukee. I don't know if it's worth the money, but you can use it wherever the heck you want to. But this setup with that tool, that's a $200 battery and a $200 socket set. That's a $1,500 setup altogether, which is a ridiculous amount to pay. But a guy's got to take his tires off, and I ain't got enough electricity out here to run a big air compressor, especially to run a 1-inch gun. So I went that route. Should be okay. I don't think I'm going to regret it. It's just a stupid amount of money to spend on a dang impact. But anyhow, well, I guess I'll tell you what I've been up to. I drove this old Mack, believe it or not once, but twice, from Kansas, you know, southern central Kansas, all the way out to Pocatello, Idaho. That is a long haul in this old truck. No cruise control, no AC, no radio. You just get in the stupid thing and you drive it. That's some old school trucking, if you ask me. That is that'll separate the men from the housewives. I'll just say that. Not that housewives aren't tough, but they ain't gonna be driving this old hunk of junk. What was it, 1,300 mile trip? That was one way. But we did that in 3 days. So 2,400 miles, 3 days. You can do the math, about 800 miles a day. The last day I'd run 1,000 miles. Get up 2 o'clock in the morning, head out and get home. I think I got home about 9 o'clock in the evening. That makes for a long day, but the old truck just runs, so if it's going to run, we're going to run it. Don't worry about that. That's not your business. Mind your own business. It's an old truck. It's going to leak oil. But it doesn't leak near as much oil because I've fixed a few oil leaks. And you got to watch on these old trucks especially, just like your front cover bolts, your tappet cover bolts, your oil pan bolts. Those will loosen up on the guy. So if you haven't already, get you, I think it's all 9/16 and 1/2 inch wrench, and just snug up every bolt you got. Don't break them off, but snug them up. It's well worth your time. That stopped a lot of oil leaks. I was going through about a gallon of oil every week, and that's not good. That's kind of expensive, unhandy, makes a big mess. But yeah, I went to Idaho twice. I went to Wyoming 3 times. Went to Denver once. Been up to Minnesota. And earlier in some past videos, you saw me. Well, maybe I didn't tell you. I went down to South Texas. This truck's been down to the ocean. Put about 35,000 miles on it in 4.5 months. So this whole thing's just trucking. We're just hook on the trailer, do your maintenance, keep an eyeball on everything. As if you guys watch Vice Grip Garage, put your peepers everywhere and make sure it's checked. If you don't know Vice Grip Garage, you ought to go watch him. He's kind of a goofball. But yeah, that's what we've been doing, and that's how you do your tie rod ends. Yeah, the dog's still alive. He thinks he's dead though. It's 100 degrees out. It's been hot, but the truck's been keeping cool. It doesn't get over 190. There's some grades out there in Idaho that were 5 and 6%, which isn't crazy, but they're 4 miles long. And with a full load on, that's pretty good pull up them things. But just grab a lower gear and let it work. Let it go to work. Coming down, you gotta be careful because I ain't got no Jake brakes on here. So I think ours only going 10 or 15 mile an hour down it, and touching my brakes now and then. But we made it down and made it back. You just kind of take your time, and you know what? I lied to you guys. I do have kind of a cruise control. You're not supposed to do this, but sometimes you need to give the old ankle a rest. Got you a throttle lock right there. So that's better than nothing. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one and all that jazz. I'm gonna ask you to subscribe, because if you ain't already, well, whatever. I ain't gonna make no money off this deal anyway. Nobody likes listening to me. But if you do want to see something different, as far as working on the truck, or kind of a blog type deal, let me know. Comment, do your thing, and see if we can't get a video about that. Anyway, God bless, and we'll see you later.